Good morning, GBS. We're in Psalms 119, verses 1 through 24.
And the title of today's message is God's Laws Makes Me Happy.
These type of rules are meant to protect you like traffic laws. If everybody just speeded and ran red lights, then we couldn't drive. No one can get to anywhere that they ever wanted to go. And I want y'all to grab hold to that metaphor, because these rules and these laws that we're talking about are traffic lights. And if you're ignoring them and you're speeding and you're doing whatever you want to do, then you will never get to your final destination. Obeying his command is better than being rich. It does insult me when I get on the scale and it tells me I'm fat. Or it does insult me when I go to the doctor and they take my BMI and they tell me I'm overweight. Especially when I'm running marathons and like killing myself in the gym and really intentionally trying to take care of my body. It's like, that's not fair. So I think today we should take this power that we're receiving from God's messages, and we're not going to allow those type of tests to determine our worth and how we feel. We're not going to let that control us. God's laws make me really happy, and they show me the right way to live. Proverbs 31. I'm going to apologize for the paint on my neck. It was all in my hair. It was everywhere yesterday, so I think I did pretty good considering. But anyway, to the message. Psalms 19 apparently is the longest psalm. I don't even know what to say about that because it's not all that long. It's like 29 verses. But it's supposed to have 22 parts. And each part is supposed to be separated into 8 verses. Now, what's memorable about this is each part begins with the letter of the Hebrew alphabet. For instance, part 1 begins with Aleph, which is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Part 2 is Beth, I believe, and so on and so on. Now, this has not been translated to English as far as how the alphabet runs, so we won't get to enjoy it in that way. And then scholars also believe it was written this way to help people memorize it. Have you seen those young Jewish boys that go and literally memorize the entire Bible? Like that's their life's purpose. So I'm pretty sure they was probably happy when they got to stuff like this, where it's organized in a way to help them remember. But for us, we're just gonna dive right in, and we're gonna pray that the Holy Spirit allows us to apply it to our lives. And for me, that's the best way for me to remember things, when I'm able to relate it to my life. So here goes. Oh snap. So I was getting started in the message, but the little thing on the side wasn't like really moving. And I don't know what, maybe I looked at the wrong psalm, but I'm like, it was only 23 verses. No, this bad boy is 171, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to have to split this up. Either in oh my gosh, okay, we can get through 20 to 25 verses, so we're gonna have to split this up in the next 3 days. So I'm going to give you verses 1 through 25. Let's start there. The word of God, Aleph, that's the letter A. God has blessed people who always do what is right. They obey the Lord's law. They agree to live by his rules. They love to pray to him. God has blessed people like that. What are his rules? This psalm talks about God's law, his rules, his commands, his message, his teaching, his word, and his promises. So what are his rules? Well, it's different ways that he communicates with us or speaks to different people throughout the Bible. And it can be in written form, like we have the commandments. It can be in promises where he says, I will never leave or forsake you. It can be directly out of Jesus's mouth, where he says, like, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Now, something like that doesn't necessarily sound like a rule, but it is, because rule number one is, if he's the only way, he's the only truth, then you can't serve any other God. No other God will get you to heaven. So something like that we might bypass, but it's crazy because a lot of people on earth believe that there are many different ways to get to heaven. Well, sadly, it's not. There's only one way to get to heaven, and that's through Jesus. But again, these rules, these commandments, these different ways are different ways that he communicates with us. And all in this first part that we're studying, we're going to hear how we want to, first of all, know and understand his rules, so that one, we can get to heaven, and two, so that we can be blessed here on earth. Why not have heaven on earth? We want to live a good life. We don't want people to attack us and beat us down and all of that good stuff. Well, this psalm is clearly saying anybody who follows God's rules, you won't be ashamed. You're going to live a good life. Stuff like that. So let's dive in and see a little bit more. Also, they do nothing that is wrong. They live in a way that pleases the Lord. So this rule is basically saying these people are blessed because they do nothing that is wrong. Now, we make mistakes, but we don't willingly make those mistakes because we consider ourselves God's chosen people. So we choose to do what is right. That's one of the rules that we follow as believers. We're going to choose the right path, the right way to go, the right, situation, the right relationship. We're going to willingly, with an open mind, choose to do right in his life. You, Lord, have told us to obey your teaching carefully. I want to be able to obey your laws all the time. So who told us to obey his teachings? The Lord did. He said it himself. And just like this writer, he said, I want to obey your laws. We should want to obey his laws. Sometimes when people see rules, they don't want nothing to do with it because it's controlling and it's like telling you what to do. But these type of rules are meant to protect you, like traffic laws. If everybody just speeded and ran red lights, then we couldn't drive. No one can get to anywhere that they ever wanted to go. And I want y'all to grab hold to that metaphor, because these rules and these laws that we're talking about are traffic lights. And if you're ignoring them and you're speeding and you're doing whatever you want to do, then you will never get to your final destination. Okay, Holy Spirit. All right. When I remember all your commands, I will not be ashamed. When I learn your good rules, I will do what is right and I will thank you. Yes, I will obey your laws. Please do not turn away from me. Beth, it's the letter B. How can a young man live a clean life? He must be careful to obey your message. This part, when I remember all of your commands, I will not be ashamed. Is there anything you're ashamed of? All right, here's my testimony. Y'all know me. I'm a fitness guru. I work out all the time, try to eat healthy and all of that stuff. But there comes times in my life, and it's like a cycle where I'm hitting it hard, I'm going healthy, I'm going hard. I went vegan for like 4 or 5 months. I hit it hard. And then little by little, I started introducing, sugar and chicken, and the chicken turns to beef, and, so on and so on. And then I find myself back at this spot where I'm like, okay, I got to get it under control, especially with the chocolate, because then I can't control it. And what will happen is I will eat so much of it and I get to that spot where I'm like, okay, this is the last one, but then I done ate 3 more after that. I actually feel ashamed. And when I go to bed at night and I'm reviewing everything that I ate versus how I was supposed to eat, I feel ashamed. And then I get to the point where I'm like, I am not going to shame myself anymore. I can't stand feeling like this, like a failure every night that I go to bed. So I make a decision and I just cut out all the bad and I choose right. And that's kind of where I am right now. Now, this part when he says, I will carefully like obey your laws and then I will thank you. That's kind of how it was when I was doing the Daniel fast. I thought it was going to be really hard, but I actually thanked God and my body thanked him because I felt better. I was more alert. I had more energy. I didn't feel sluggish after eating. I was pooping twice a day. Like, I felt really good by following his commands. What's one of his commands or rules? We supposed to obey our temple. This body that he's given us, we're supposed to treat it like it's his holy temple. And when I don't do that, I feel ashamed. So I'm going to try carefully to obey God's laws, do what is right so that I don't feel ashamed, and also so that I will thank him. I bring all my thoughts to you. Do not let me forget to obey your commands. I always keep your message in my mind so that I do not do anything bad against you. That part right there is just everything. And yeah, it's talking about a young man, but just a person, period, a human. Any human being, if you want to live a clean life, how do you do it? You obey God's commands. What are his commandments? Go back. It's love God with all your heart, love your brother like you love yourself. Then you can go deeper. You can go to the 10 commandments that he left Moses if you want to go a little bit deeper. If you feel like that ain't enough and you searching for even more, like you know you ain't murdering and you ain't committing adultery and you want to go further than that, well, 613 more. Now, God didn't say do all of that, but man did, and they went a little too far. But go as far as you want to go, and then just hold on to those things because they're all right living. They're all the right thing. You can't go wrong. Now, are you going to live 613 laws in a day? Nah, you're not. You're going to make a mistake, but you won't willfully or willingly choose to do wrong. You're surrounding yourself with nothing but positive, right ways. Again, back to the whole diet thing. When it's time for me to do the right thing, the holiday is over. I done celebrated Mother's Day, had my cake, ate it too, had my chocolates, all of that. When I'm ready to do right, the first thing I do is surround myself with the right things. I go grocery shopping and I get nothing but the good stuff, nothing but the right choices. So that way, when I'm hungry, I don't have any other option but to make a right choice because that's all that's around me. So this is what, he's kind of saying with this message, like, hey, you want to live a clean life? Well, obey his laws, carefully. Obey his commands. What are his commands? Is all of the good stuff to do. Surround yourself with nothing but good stuff that you watch, stuff that you listen to, and then that's going to feed your spirit and you'll have no choice but to live a good, clean life. Lord, everyone should praise you. Please teach me your law. Praise break. You have taught us your rules. I want to speak them aloud for others to hear. Ghetto Bible study. Your rules give me a happy life. When I obey them, it is better than being rich. I ain't say it. God said it. He said obeying his commands or his laws or his rules is better than being rich. This is the Bible. It's the truth. Everything else in the world is wrong that talks about happiness and riches. It's right here. Obeying God's commands is better than being rich. You got the answers to life right here in a nutshell. I want to think carefully about your teaching. You have shown me the best way to live. Your laws make me very happy. I will not forget what you have taught me. Don't talk about it, be about it. God has literally shown us the best way to live. We have an example. This is nothing that we're trying to figure out. If you want to know men, you want to be the best man that you can possibly be, look at Jesus. There you go. Women, same thing. Look at Jesus. But, say I'm a woman and, I can't really relate. All right, well, look at Ruth, who found her started with a B, her Boaz, look at Sarah. I mean, she doubted, but then, God made her a believer by giving her a child like in her late age. Look at Esther. For such a time as this, where she had to risk her life to like save her people, she had to make the right choice in a bad and wrong situation. So we trying to figure out how to live right. God, through the Bible, through these messages, through these stories, through these people's real lives, He's given us examples of the right way to live. So ain't no excuse. Read your doggone Bible. Gamel, please be kind to me, your servant. Then I will live and I will obey your message. Open my eyes wide. Then I will see great things in your law. That's a good prayer to pray, to ask God to open your eyes so that you can see the great things in His law. Like again, the traffic light thing. We can see that as somebody trying to control us, tell us what to do, stop when they tell us to stop. Or if we see it from the maker's perspective, they're doing that to save lives. They're doing that to have order. They're doing that for things to run smoothly. So if we ask for God to just open our eyes and change our perspective, we'll see things that used to harm us or offend us in a certain season of our lives that's now a complement to righteous living, to live in our best life. But we got to ask God to open our eyes so that we can see it. I live like a stranger here on earth. Please do not hide your commands from me. I really want to obey your rules all the time. I want that more than anything else. I feel like that. I really feel like a stranger on this earth. Like when they say to be in this world, but not of it. Okay, I don't know what it is about the food thing. Maybe because I'm like on my journey again, but I never get off. It's like a roller coaster. Like I said, it's like a cycle. But anyway, it's not fair when all of the options around me are fried and greasy and just not healthy and packed with sugar. Like when you go in gas stations or stores, that's the stuff that's all around us. And I feel like a stranger to that. I have a desire, a taste for just good plant-based healthy food that's light, it ain't loaded with doggone sugar and is overly sweet or packed with all of that fat and your fingers are orange and you open a bag of chips and it smell like doo-doo and like cheese doodle smell like doo-doo. Like I feel like a stranger that's my options all around me. And the sad part is I'm addicted to most of it. The chocolate and all of that. I'm addicted to it. But I feel like a stranger because I'm like, I really, really don't want this life. I don't want that. I don't want all this stuff. So I need to hold on to God's rule and treat my body like it's really a gift, like it's a temple. I have to treat it like God has left this special gift with me to take care of. I have to treat it that way. I can't abuse it with all of this filth, with all of these poisons. I can't do that because then my body won't be able to do the job that God originally created me to do. If I'm too tired and I'm too sluggish, how am I live out His will for me? How am I live out my purpose if I'm too tired to do anything? Yeah, so I feel that. I really do be feeling like a stranger. You warn people who are proud. If they turn away from your commands, you will surely punish them. I obey your rules. So do not let people insult me so that I become ashamed. He punished proud people. I don't want to be punished by God, and I don't want to be ashamed. So help me, God, to obey your commands because I don't want that for my life. Rulers may think of ways to hurt me and to insult me, but I will think carefully about your rule. I think that a lot of stuff on this earth that was not created for me. It was never made for a black woman. I think the iPhone was not made for me. I'm sure the BMI system was not made for me. Like when they calculate your body mass versus your height and they tell you if you overweight or you fat or anything, that was not actually, and I'm gonna help a lot of y'all with this. That test was performed on 19-ish young Caucasian males. And a reason for that, back in the day when they did that scale, that was the only type of people that they can afford to do the test on. Black people wasn't in college. It was college boys too. They weren't in college, and they wasn't paying black people to do any type of test on them. Now they was doing different stuff to black people that was way wrong and way illegal, and using us as guinea pigs for all types of stuff. But you better believe we wasn't getting paid for it. But this particular test, the BMI scale, they picked that group of people to, determine what fat is, what healthy is, what overfat is, what obese is. And the crazy part is, today we still use that method to determine if we're in shape or not, if we're fat or not. And that's just another trick, and I'm so grateful for Ghetto Bible Study, God's messages, and God's truth. Well, it ain't in the Bible, first of all, so I ain't gotta believe that to be true about me. So we should never weigh up. We should never measure ourselves on that type of scale, because it was never intended for us. You can't say all of America is 19-year-old white boys in college, but we do. So now we know the truth. So yes, your laws make me really happy. They show me the right way to live. And that's a great way to end this message. God's laws make me really happy, and they show me the right way to live. I cannot sum it up in any other better way than that. This other stuff does not make me happy. It makes me ashamed. It makes me feel like a failure, but I'm swimming upstream. If I try to keep up with these worldly rules, it will never work for me, because it was never created for me. So I am so grateful to hear this last part. Yes, God, your laws, your rules make me happy. Thank you, God. All right, everybody. I hope y'all enjoyed today's message, because that is it in a nutshell. God's laws are to not just to protect us. It is that. And it's also to guide us to Him. It is that. But we want to take off the disguise and the lies of this world so that we can really be happy. Because if we keep judging ourselves based on those systems that was never created for us, we will never feel like we're enough. We will always feel less than, but that is not the truth. That's not God's message. God's message is love. He said you are beautifully and wonderfully made. He ain't say nothing about no doggone BMI. So I accept that. And as long as, like He said, honor your temple, if I do that, then I'm praying, God, help me to break this cycle. And then the other part about opening our eyes, I am so thankful that God opened our eyes today so that we can see His truth and the world's lies. Yes, we are supposed to feel like strangers in this world, because we are not of this world. We're of His world. He got a whole created everything much better for us. We're not supposed to be comfortable here, because it wasn't made for us. I was made for heaven. All right, y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. I hope y'all feel happy today. I feel good. His laws make me happy. And hopefully it makes you happy too. Be blessed.
God's laws makes me happy.